Hey, welcome back to Taste for Adventure. We are going to continue our flight with 2 more beers, describing them using the 5 parts of tasting we introduced in part 1.
This one's exciting. The Maple Barrel Stout.
That's right. So, breakfast, we go from coffee to, pancakes. Yeah. That sounds about right. Oh, and it's not just maple. There is definitely some bourbon barrel in this, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. As the can so eloquently puts, aged for 18 months in bourbon maple syrup barrels.
Yeah.
That's impressive. This one's a pretty heavy hitter, 12%. So.
Okay. Now, I think that this Kentucky brewery has done some other...
They have.
Like barrel-aged beers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not incredibly familiar with them. I see them all the time.
It's this... it actually is this Lexington Brewing Company.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you look at it, they've got like... they've got a few different, I think, these bourbon barrel-aged variants of different kinds of beer. So they like they've got the maple one. I've seen a few different other ones.
Oh, okay.
They're pretty popular. You can usually find these in like 4-packs, cans, or bottles.
Okay, I'll have to keep my eye out because this smells wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely know what you're getting when you smell it.
That's right. Yeah. So for aroma, why don't you maybe for each of the categories? Why don't you give your like kind of your impression, and then maybe I'll try to dig deeper and add my thoughts.
Yeah, I've definitely got that the maple. It's a little bourbony in there. Kind of got that sort of I think a similar quality. So maybe they used similar malt, but just ever so slightly caramely or chocolatey right there. I can't quite place it.
I am getting a sweetness. I'm getting more of like a sugary sweetness in the aroma of this one, certainly than I was in the coffee.
Of course, yeah. And then and no real hop character, I think, to speak of.
No, this one has more of the impression of sweetness in the aroma than even the last one, and I also am not getting really any hops.
Yeah.
Lots of maple, maybe some adjunct sugars, definitely some caramel malts or caramels.
Yep.
More maple for sure, and definitely big bourbon and oak character.
Yep. It's definitely that similar, like, dark tan,
Yes, it's very, as far as the appearance.
The color anyway.
This one has more clarity than the coffee.
It does actually, yeah. Still opaque through the actual beer, but if you look in on top.
Yep. Similar colors. Yeah. This one definitely clearer.
Yeah. Think of maybe like a soda, like a cola.
Yeah, that's a great.
Yeah. I definitely process things better when I have something to compare them to directly. So saying this is like cola color. I mean, even in head, it's kind of like that cola carbonation kind of a look.
Definitely.
Doesn't smell like any cola I've ever had, but
So flavor-wise, for me, I think it is a little bit lacking in some of that big, like, roasty stout quality.
Sure.
I feel like it is a bit sweet, and it has like an adjunct sugary quality.
Yeah, it definitely. They're trying to go for something specific. They're saying this is a maple bourbon stout.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay. And I think, I almost feel like those adjunct sugars are pushing through. Maybe they actually added maple syrup. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that too. Yeah,
and so I guess some of this beer, the flavors are there. I understand why you like this beer and what they're pushing, but some of it comes across as inauthentic. Like some of the sweetness and some of the flavors, I can definitely tell are not derived from malt.
You're right.
So it has like an artificial sugar type quality. Maybe that's why it reminds me of some sodas.
Oh yeah.
It's not really bad. It's just definitely something that I note pretty clearly in this beer. Really almost no bitterness.
No. It's got like an alcohol warmth
It definitely has a pretty
with
sharp
12%, yeah, it should probably.
Yeah, well, 12%, and then also, as I noted, it lacks a very like really solid malt backbone. It's all of these like specialty flavors without that strong base beer background.
So it's kind of the tenet that you speak of, where a really good beer can have these big, bold flavors, but should also have the backing of like an actual just good base beer.
Yeah, and I'm getting those flavors, but then I feel like the base beer comes off as a bit artificial, a little adjunct heavy.
Yeah, and I will say, it does feel a little bit sugary. I mean, I've definitely, I remember back to high school when you had, drink way too much Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
And then you're like, my mouth is permanently sticky until like you brush your teeth, you drink, a gallon of water, you brush your teeth the next morning, and it's still there.
Yeah.
So I do feel like if I had more of this, it'd probably get to that point.
Yeah, I feel like if I had a lot of it, I would get like a stomach ache just from like some of the sweetness and just all the stuff in it. I guess I would if I had,
You had 4 12% beers.
That's right. So,
So you probably would ding it in the mouthfeel department for that.
Definitely. I would say especially for the style of beer, the body is quite thin.
Yeah.
But then the carbonation is kind of like medium low also. Pretty warming, really pretty warming, although it's hard to ding a 12% stout for too much warmth. It's not terribly creamy. It's like on the low end of moderate for creaminess, and some of that is just a factor of it not having very much carbonation and it being like really full and creamy.
Yeah.
So those are some of the criticisms I have with this beer. It really comes across as like, an imperial soda stout.
Hey, that's probably the next big one. You got milkshake IPA right now.
There you go.
In a couple more months, imperial soda stout. From me, I'll say, I did like it. I like those big, gigantic flavors and whatnot. I mean, like I said, for me, I'm not tasting it. Mostly, traditionally, I'm not tasting it to judge.
Yeah.
Tasting it just for pure enjoyment. And I mean, when you say imperial soda stout, it's like, wow, that's like, now it's like stuck in my head now. Like, this is very much like soda-y. It's very like kind of artificially. It's, everything you said is correct. I'm still enjoying it. So, you'd probably get another 4-pack out of me.
All right. Very good. Goose Island Bourbon County brand number 4 stout. I think they're special number 4. They don't have a special number 1, 2, and 3. I think for the last few years they just have called one of their variants the special number 4.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in.
I mean, they have all kind of different names. There's a proprietor series. There's all kinds of different. Yeah. So what's a really fun thing about Bourbon County is that every year their variants are different and they're varied.
Yes.
So this year I think they had maybe 6 or so variants, and the bourbon number 4 this year is the variant with coffee and maple. Yeah. So looking forward to trying it.
That's perfect for the perfect finisher for our flight.
Yes, definitely. So. Yeah, this is a beer that's a little bit harder to get a hold of, and you definitely won't find this one in 4-packs. These are typically sold as singles. Definitely not the cheapest beer. Be prepared to spend a fair amount on this one, but there's a reason for it.
Yeah. Something that I really like, actually, that the Coffee Eugene Porter didn't, is that you can see right here underneath the Goose Island logo, Intelligentsia.
Yes.
They proudly show their coffee partner. I mean, you definitely get that. You get the aroma that's there. The appearance. This is, I mean, it is more of that. It's more of that dark brown. You're gonna get that.
Well, this one is pretty opaque though, and it's the thickness. I mean, this is a
chewy
very
beer.
full beer.
Oh, it's almost too much.
I
feel like it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna take a nap, which is funny because it's got coffee in it.
Yeah, I mean, but this is definitely the type of beer that I would describe as like a fireside sipper.
Oh yeah.
You can't pound this one. This is, you're sipping, you're relaxing. I know some people that might have like a cigar or something when they have this, and this is the kind of beer that like the flavors could stand up to. It's something like that, or maybe with a dessert.
Yeah,
we're just kind of sitting and relaxing by the fireplace. Yeah. So
this is taking it slow beer.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a slow ride. Now, what about the maple? Are you getting much maple?
It's maple. I am getting that coffee as well to sort of balance it out, and it's a little bit bitter. I mean, you can definitely tell. If you're a big intelligentsia drinker, you can definitely tell this is intelligentsia coffee. But I mean, I do get the maple there, and I definitely get that this is more than the last one. That this was aged in maple barrels, maple bourbon barrels, because it doesn't have that artificiality that the other one had. This one is definitely like, just put it in the maple barrels and leave it alone. Maple bourbon barrels, leave it alone. The other one's like, throw some syrup in there. This is it does have some sweetness. It has sweetness to it. Yep. But it's probably what you would describe as more malty sweetness rather than like an adjunct sugar.
Absolutely.
So
yes,
there you go.
This is a fantastic beer, and I am fortunate to be sipping on it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a little too hot. It needs to be aged, kind of a lot longer. Yeah. I think to really hit its peak, where the Coffee Eugene Porter was already at its peak. And I got a great base beer, and I got a nice, nuanced, balanced coffee added in with it.
So you think in terms of technical score sheet, the Coffee Eugene would score better?
I do.
Wow.
As this beer is drinking tonight.
Yes.
Although this really is a fantastic beer.
It is a fantastic beer. I don't regret you sharing this with me at all. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So of the three, which would you have again, or be most eager to seek out?
Most eager to seek out. I mean, this is a fantastic beer. I mean, in terms of like pure pleasure while drinking, this is gonna take the cake for me. But that's surprising. The Coffee Eugene. Now, would you take that over this? Is my question.
I mean, some of it's the scarcity and the rarity quality too.
If it's no option, if you have two fountains to choose, two drinking fountains,
two endless drinking fountains. I would definitely drink more of the Coffee Eugene Porter because it's half the alcohol content is this one.
Yeah.
But I would definitely want to end the night with this one and really spend some time like sipping and enjoying this one.
Even with the coffee in it, ironically, it puts you to bed.
Yeah. Two very different beers, but they would kind of fall along the same judging category. So, I think this scores really high. I think it would score even higher with some age on it. So, I've had a few of the other Bourbon County variants pretty young, and they drank really nicely.
Yeah.
There was one that had some Earl Grey tea notes in it.
Ooh.
That was really good.
That sounds great.
And I had it, a month old, and it was great. And I would recommend that one very quickly. This one, I think you sit on it for a while before it hits its peak. All right, any parting thoughts for this episode?
Not too many. I mean, this is episode 2.
Yes.
I'm excited to see where we go with this. We've got a lot of really great plans in the hopper. Next episode, we're talking about the style guidelines for the BJCP, as a whole. So I'm really interested in learning about the actual guidelines itself and going through and sort of, seeing what the BJCP has to offer. Bourbon County special sort of maple, sort of that thing.
Yeah. So
let me try that again.
Okay. All right.